Hello. Today I want to help walk you through some processes that you can use when you're working in Google Docs. The first thing is to obviously start a new document. So we're going to go over here to our new button with the plus sign and click on it. You have a few options here. We're going to work with Google Docs only for this video. So we're going to click in and start a new document. Anytime we create a new document, the first thing we should do is title it. For most of our school assignments, what I would really like for you to get in the habit of doing, at least for Mrs. Faulhaber, is titling your document right out of the gate. Come up here, type in your last name, period, your first name, and then whatever the assignment is that you're working on. This is Learning Google Docs. So there is the title of our new document. That can be changed at any time, but that's the format that I would love for you to be submitting to me. Then we're going to look here at File. When you go to File, you can share a document. You can click on that share. Yes, there is also a share button over here in the upper right corner. Either one does the same thing. You can open a new document or a new anything from here. You can open anything you've already worked on. You can make a copy. Sometimes Mrs. Faulhaber or your other teachers will send you something and they'll say, make a copy of this for yourself. You would click on make a copy and it automatically names it copy of, and then whatever the title of your document was. But you can always edit that. So you could take away the copy of, and then instead of my name, whose name would you put? You would put your own name. And keep this part the same. Now, we're going to go back to the original. Other things you can do under the File tab, you can download the document to your actual computer. You can email it as an attachment. You can make it available offline to work if maybe you want to do it while you can't have guaranteed access to the internet. The only thing with that is you have to have an extension, which you can do. It tells you what to do in order to do that. Other options, you can rename your title, which we already discussed. You can always do that. You can move it to a new file folder. We'll talk about that at another time. You can add a shortcut to Drive, and by doing that, you would click on this star and then it would help you find it faster if you are still working on it. Okay, so then we've got move to trash if you decide to delete it. And down here at the very bottom, we've got print, page setup, language, document details. Page setup can sometimes be important. We can turn it to be a landscape so that it's like a sideways piece of paper. So it's longer across the top and the bottom and shorter on the sides. Or we turn it back to typical format, portrait, which is up and down. Long sides on the sides and the short ends are on the top and bottom. You can edit, you can undo or redo. Now, some of these symbols you'll see are also down in this second bar here. As we go through the details in each one of these, the most common things that you need to adjust are also available in this second menu bar. So this is undo, this is redo. And see when you hover over it, it shows you what it does. Print. This one, the A and the check mark is spelling and grammar check. You can check your work before you submit it. Paint format is slightly different, and we can talk about that at another time too. That's not something you necessarily use every day. Now, when we use Google Docs or any of our Google Suite applications, we do not cut and paste using these. We have to use Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Oop, I pasted something. That's a link. I mean, you can do Control X to cut and then paste. Let's see, we've got view. Whoops. View would be your print layout. You can decide which mode you want to view this document in: editing, suggesting, viewing, which can also be established over here. And then you've got these different, show the ruler. You can see the ruler along the side, but you could take that away if you wanted to. I like to have the ruler because then I can navigate better when the end of the page is coming. And then if we're doing, when I show you something up on the smartboard at school, I would hit full screen, and then you can see the entire document that way. And you hit escape maybe twice to get out of that. Then we come over here to insert. Insert is exactly what it sounds like. It's when you insert something into your document. You can insert images. Your images can come from your computer. You can search on the internet. They can come from something you've already saved in your Google Drive. Right now, we also have access to our camera, but that I don't think typically happens during our day when we're in school. You can insert a table. Check this out. Well, first, image. If I want to search the web, let's say I want to find a chicken. I have no idea. Okay, we'll do this chicken. You'll see down here, one selected, insert. Why is that unable to do that? Let's try that again. Insert, search the web, chicken. We do this one. There's my chicken. I'm going to make it smaller and keep it in the same proportions by hitting the corner tab like this. If I just hit down here, it would mess up the proportions. You'll see these other tabs. I think you should take some time to play with that and see what that means. See if you can identify what that does for it. Insert a table. You can choose a table and you can choose how big you want it to be. I just want one row with 5 columns. I can add to that if I choose by right-clicking inside, and look here, it tells me insert row above, insert row below, insert a column to the left, insert a column to the right, delete, distribute rows, distribute columns. So I'm going to insert a row below, so now I have 2, and then I'm going to come down here to table properties. And there's some things you can play with here. You can play with the border. You could make the border a different color. And you can make it super thick. Let's see what that looks. See how that just changed? So you can play with those things. You can insert a drawing. You can create a drawing to insert by opening it up, and then you can play around with this. You can insert a chart. You could insert a pie chart. Oh, look at that. I inserted it inside the column, or inside the table. Now, if I want to see exactly what that is, because that's super tiny, I can blow that up. Ooh. And I do not have a link. I want to move this whole thing out here so I can look at it closer. And see what the pie chart says. But if you find a pie chart online, you can put it in there. If you have data that you want to present, you can enter it into that. We have adding a horizontal line. So that just added a line down at the bottom there. Special characters. You can pull up all kinds of special characters in this. You would choose one. Wherever you were, so my cursor was here, so that's where my arrow went. Those, you can play with those. Those are a lot of fun. There's a lot of neat things in there. If you want to look at pronunciations, I could look up the letter E, and I could find all those E's with those little symbols for short vowel sounds and long vowel sounds. There's a schwa. So you can do all sorts of fun things with that. That's all in the insert, and there's a lot of fun things you can play with there. You can add headers and footers. A header would go at the very top of your paper above in the margin, and you'd be able to type something like, "This is my first document." And that's virtually untouchable, so that would show up on every page in your document if you have multi-pages. We're going to go over here to format. Format has our text and the things that we can do, the things that we can do with our text. Now, as I said, some of this information's already down here too. You can choose your font. I think most of you know how to do that. You can choose how big it is. You can choose if you want to make it bold, italics, underlined, change the color, and you can highlight things. So I could come in here with the green. Oh, I can't highlight that, but I could highlight this arrow. Oh, I could highlight. I thought I clicked it. Green. Hello, and see how that comes up highlighted. You can pick your format for paragraphs. A lot of these things just take time and energy to look at and play around with. Tools, there are a lot of tools that you can use. You can count how many words are in your document. You can voice type. You can check your spelling and grammar here, just like you can, just like you can right here. Here's another spot where you can insert images and links. You would also insert links here for hyperlinks. Do you want all of your work centered in the middle of the paper? Usually titles are centered, and the rest of the document is usually left aligned. Spacing, how much space between each line do you want? Numbering your items, bullet pointing your items. Those are the most important things I think that you would need. And you can spend time creating documents and playing with them to understand how they all work. I'm going to be sending you a scavenger hunt to check how well you understood this video and how much time you were able to take looking at the documents and how to create them and what different things you can do with them. I also, real quick before we wrap up, want to show you that you can always change the size of what you're viewing your document as. So that's 50%. So that you can see the entire document on your screen right now. 100% would be much easier for you to read, easier on your eyes. You could blow it up even bigger though. Like that too. I hope that helps you understand some of the things we can do with Google Docs. We'll keep following up with some of these how-tos as we move forward. Thanks for listening.